The essence of interpreting the Buddha Dharma has changed over the centuries. Now it is time that we rectify the essence of the mistakes we have made over the centuries. Right? I'm Anagarika Dhammapriya, the writer or author of many books, including one on the Mahabodhi Temple, a World Heritage Site, one on Sarnath, Varanasi as a Buddhist site, and on Kausambi, where the Buddha had done a rain retreat, and many more books. But now I've changed my view from books to interviewing and doing work with excellent teachers of the Buddha Dharma who have the ability to do something or change the view for Buddhism. Right now in front of me I have Bhante Buddhapriya from he's from Belgium, and we would like to interview him and do something. Venerable, would you kindly explain your thoughts to the social media people who are watching social media and tell them of what your impression is of the Buddha Dharma?
Yes. Okay. So, from birth, it was clear that the Buddha was an enlightened being. When Asita came to visit him and told the king Sodana that Buddha was a special kid and that he became enlightened, from that moment it was clear that he would be somebody special. But it was till he regained the knowledge of birth, death, suffering, sickness, that urge to know the end of suffering came vivid in his home, because before it was closed, he lived in a closed castle. And by knowing his future wife, Yasodhara, he became more aware of all levels of human suffering. He saw what common people experienced. That wasn't possible before. So the moment he left the castle and he wanted to find the end of suffering for Yasodhara, for his son Rahula, and for the whole world in that way, he went on his quest, like everybody does in that sense. We're going to search on many ways. And what was the way of the Buddha? The way of the Buddha was going to the Brahmins, going to the ascetics, experience the teaching. Because in that time you couldn't read that. They were only spoken in a language. It was Sanskrit. And that language was not a common spoken language. It was only the language of the Brahmins. So that knowledge was not free available. And that's something we have now, for example. Now we can find every kind of knowledge on YouTube and internet. But in that time that was not possible. So for 6 years, he studied a lot of techniques, he saw a lot of wisdom. And the moment he arrived in Bodh Gaya, here, not far from where we are now, underneath that tree, he made a synthesis, in one way, of all that knowledge, and it became his Dhamma, that we know as Dhamma. He wanted to create something that was practical. The Dhamma is not something that you have to debate. It's not something that you have to think of in one sense. Yes, of course. But it's limited to the practice, to experience. It's a path. It's the Buddha. As we think of the Buddha, we have to see him as a guide. He's never going to give you the lights, like some gurus and some other people state. No, the Buddha is a guide. He shows you the tools, a way to find content, a state of what some could say blissful being.
How is your philosophy different from that of other Buddhist traditions?
The Buddha's teachings goes out from the point that everybody suffers. Let's turn that around. Let's say that we're all in a happy state. Of course, we know that's not reality. But let's say that we are. And what do we need to stay in that happiness? And we use the same teachings. We don't mess with the Dhamma in that sense. The Dhammas that Buddha created stay completely holy as one in that sense. We don't touch the Dhamma. But we're going to use another way to look at it. Let's say a more joyful way. And the principle is that we look from an idea that we are happy. And what do we need to stay in that happiness? For example, we're going to see that what we create is big rules and big teachings and hardship can be very easy if we turn it around. You're happy. Would you steal? Would you lie? Would you kill or murder someone? Would you rape? A happy person doesn't feel that need. What kind of job would you steal in your job? Would you do an unethical job? Would you have an evil intention? And in those four examples, in those examples I'm giving you, there are a few elements we all see back. The five precepts are there, and parts of the eightfold path. The idea is that if we're happy, we are in that metta state. We are in loving compassion. And you can see it sometimes. When you are happy, when you feel you are joyful, your natural state, you want to share and you want to be open to the world. It's the moment that the suffering hits us or the stress hits us that becomes different. Now, where lies the difference? Also, we accept that when the time the Buddha created that, he, like we said before, he made the synthesis of a whole lot of knowledge that was not available. Now, we have the opposite. We see that there's a whole lot of knowledge available, a whole lot of techniques, and we don't gonna say that there's one better than the other. We just say, explore it. Explore that meditation, vipassana, samatha, are one of the things. But in this modern age, we have lots of new concepts, lots of new visions, lots of new tools that also can benefit those basic things, the basic principles. For example, psychology tools. If you have an addiction problem, for example, we have addiction clinics. So in that sense, you can be aware of that could be the Four Noble Truths. And the other part would be how to overcome it. Could be a therapist in addiction. So we don't want to close the Buddhist teaching. We just open. And in that way, we want to open it to a broader Dhamma. The Buddha spoke in the later sutras that the Dhamma has 84,000 ways. And in those 84,000 ways, there are many roads to see the Dhamma. There is not one exclusive. The Dhamma, or the Buddhist vision, is not one road. And it's also not a vast road. It's not something that stays that way. That was the lesson of impermanence very clear. Everything is in motion. Nothing stays. So that Buddhism, or the teachings of the Buddha, would develop, would be broader with all the knowledge and technology and change we have done is a logical thing. It is Buddhism itself. It's Buddha's law. And sometimes we are too traditional, too stuck in that vision that Buddhism is standing.
Well, how does all this philosophy benefit humanity in a practical way?
Yes. I think by shifting the idea from suffering to paying attention to that happy state, we're going to be more happy automatically. And that gives that state creates less stress in the body. And less stress in the body is less physical pain, but also less stress in the mind. And less stress in the mind means that the mind becomes calmer automatically. Stress is not a very good, nice thing to have. And it relates to many medical conditions. So that would be the first answer. The second answer could be, we're gonna connect nicer towards our fellow human being. So our social constructions can become better and nicer. And on a global level, it could make us aware more that we live in a world where nature, where people in societies have the same goal, to be happy and more in balance. Because from the feeling of happiness, the feeling from calm happiness, the metta bhavana, we are more connected to oneself. So from that metta bhavana, that peaceful happiness, we're going to be more connected with ourselves, with our fellow companions in our nearest context, but also as a society. We're going to connect more with the people around us, with the neighbor, with the group where we live, in schools. So, does it have a benefit? Of course. And hopefully that can grow to even an awareness that we are all members of a planet, and that we can see the planet also as part of that, what we are. And pay more attention to ecological elements, balanced living with nature.
Very good, Venerable. You make quite a few statements which are good. Tell me, would you plan to set up your center in Bodh Gaya? And what will you do there?
It would be amazing to have a center in a place where the Buddha got enlightened. It would be also amazing to be in this area and to walk literally in the footsteps of the Buddha, or to sit even on the places where the Buddha is. And hopefully this center could arise here, or in this neighborhood of Gaya. It would be an immense honor towards the Buddha to create that center here, because we don't need to forget that the Buddha was a man of the Dhamma, and the most important thing he always said and was referred to many texts in the Pali Canon is the Dhamma is the most important. And what we are doing not changing the Dhamma, we keep it alive. And it would be nice to see that Dhamma that's alive here in Bodh Gaya. It would be an amazing thing to have. Here we could work with how to keep those tools to pay more instinct of happiness, how to see ourselves, how the mind works, what metta bhavana literally practical is. And for those who know Buddhism, they're gonna see it's all Dhamma. Only the perception is a little bit different. Let's say we keep more attention in what we like, love, and how we share that love, instead of the focus of suffering. Let's make Buddhism something to enjoy. And the path of the Buddha is a little bit through the suffering, but we can make it a little bit more enjoyable by paying that attention to the joyful state. And we're gonna meet suffering, because else it wouldn't be the Dhamma. It wouldn't be. But we can make it a little bit more light.
Thank you very much. We will give your email ID to people who would like to contact you and see what we can see how things change. Thank you very much. Right?